einer 3.
And I must say this, that our financial institutions feel the same way as I do in this regard. They are really working with us, but they need an industry that says, no, we won't allow that, we won't allow this. If you remain silent, well, you know, this is the private sector, it finds its own level.
Yeah.
And if there's more to be made, then more will be made.
Yeah.
Our attitude is we are now entering this space and we are going to guide the banks as to what is acceptable behavior in the taxi industry and what is not acceptable. As part and parcel of what you said, Tate, that we want to create, we're going to get the engine going again of the industry. This is one of the ways.
So I can safely say that there is intentionality for the industry, especially taxi choice, to truly represent the aspirations of the operators as it comes to financing, because a lot of wrong things have happened in the past.
Absolutely.
And as you correctly put it, both the banks, the dealers have been part of a very big syndicate. And that has caused so much pain, and other people may not recover from this ever again.
Yes.
If we were to conclude this, one of the things that have been raised by the industry is that because I'm talking Mobilized now and the banks or the financiers, because they know that we are financed to fail, they now have created a model that keeps them afloat by taking a vehicle from me, refurbishing it, and redeploying it to Isaac when they've taken it away from James. But they knew from the beginning that the data was telling them that this guy, we are giving him a new vehicle, we are going to get 200 or 500,000 from this guy. But 3 years from now, this vehicle is going to come back. We're going to refurbish it and send it back out there. What level of exploitation is this? And are we sure that the person that we are financing now, we are at least putting everything in place to ensure that they don't get to lose this vehicle again?
So these things have happened, undoubtedly. And that's what I said, water finding its own level. Unfortunately, if the industry is not there, not participating vigorously,
right,
and not worried about whether we make friends or not, our interest lies with our member.
right.
No one else. No one else. We don't want anybody else to finance us. We don't want to be receiving money from people that we still have to check to see if they're doing transactions correctly. Unfortunately, you're so right. Some will never recover and some are gone.
Yeah.
It's to cry for.
Yeah.
Believe me. But that has stopped. I can't say to you that it's like switching a switch, but we are there now. And we are asking our members, guys, come to us. We will help you. And by the way, you don't have to be a Santaco member. You can be anybody as long as you have an operating license. Here is your home. We'll help you. And we will make sure that you are given the best possible deal. And let me just make this point. The banks want the best possible deal because most of the banks do not refurbish vehicles. They want this vehicle paid for. So they want the best possible deal for the person purchasing the vehicle as well. So they are working hand in glove with us to try and make sure that that's what happens. Good dealerships are doing the same, and we will bring them all in to line. and make sure that our members get what is due to them. If I may just on this point make one other point. These vehicles cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
600,000 Rand.
Yeah.
There's another area that we must talk about. We buy a lot of these vehicles. Should we not be getting a better price?
That's the point. That's my next point. Why are people, I mean, when you take it off the floor, it's 700,000, but you're actually paying R1 million. It's actually R1 million.
Yes. Oh, yes.
What is going on? Why is the likes of Toyota and others not coming to the party in terms of pricing?
Well, I think it's got a lot to do with what we said before, that the way that the economy has been structured in the past, we use the fuel example. Biggest user of fuel, the only one that doesn't get a discount. The same goes throughout the value chain of the taxi industry.
Sure.
From purchase, insurance, finance. I am absolutely horrified by some of the interest rates that are charged to members. It won't happen anymore. We simply will not authorize those transactions. And authority from us is going to be very important. And I'll tell you why. We are wanting to contract with the bank that if you sell this vehicle, if you finance this vehicle and it doesn't pay, our problem, we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
But not if you've taken your own route and done a transaction that we will not approve of, and then want us to stand behind it. No, sorry, we can't do that.
I see.
So from now onwards, we will stand behind these transactions. We will go and collect the vehicles if it's necessary to do so.
Yeah.
And even in that, instead of repossessing, we would rather say, who's next in line for another vehicle? Let's do a transaction, you take over and you continue with it. So we are going to play a far more important role in the taxi space, but only in the interest of our member.
Right.
That's it.
So because the banks really need to play a role in this, because if the space is so, it's operating in silos. Yeah, everyone they're just happy when a person walks through the door and making an application for this.
Yeah.
I think it's time that those that are not interested to finance the industry must say so and remove themselves.
Exactly.
And you guys need to hold them accountable. But we believe on records. So that's why I said earlier, we would want to sit with these banks, because that political will, that willingness to change the way they finance the industry. As somebody said to me a couple of days ago, this is actually discrimination. It is discrimination because a person who buys a 2.5 million rand vehicle in the same Toyota dealership, if that person comes and buy a 600,000 vehicle, they pay more than the person who's paying 2.5 million rand, because of how the industry is priced and perceived.
You see, we've got examples of that. We've got examples where a man is purchasing a Mercedes-Benz and he gets a interest rate of 2% above prime. Same man goes and puts his operating license down to purchase a taxi. He gets a price of 10 points above prime.
No, okay. The same person.
Same person. But let me make this point. The banks are, and I think you're going to find them so, the banks want to resolve these issues. They do not want to do business at the highest interest rate. It's a risk for them at the end of the day. Everybody else is out, the dealer's been paid, now the bank sits with the paper.
Right.
So they are prepared to play their role, and they are very pleased that the taxi industry is now starting to say, hold on a second, These are the rules that we will work by.
So I don't trust any of these things that I am hearing, because the people that we are talking to out there, we go to the streets. By the way, we go to have these interviews at an association level, and they've lost trust.
Of course.
And we are really contemplating that some of these things that you're talking about, they must actually become a court order of some sort.
Yes.
Because circumstances change and people just change as and when they please.
Yeah.
And for us to test whether people mean what they say is to then agree on something that we're talking about, put it in front of a court unopposed, and make it a court order.
Yeah.
Because then we have something that regulates that kind of a relationship. Nobody wakes up tomorrow and say, no. We think we're going to be out of that, and then we can hold them in contempt. So we are contemplating actions like those, because we're saying, if the regulator finds, because we want science, this thing must be informed by science. If the regulator finds some of these things to be true and, the remedies must be governed and be controlled by a court order, because I think this is the only safe space where people can be. So I think we're making real progress. Is it okay for me to say that the SA taxi and the way the industry has been financed in the past, there is nobody who's disputing that it has been unfair, discriminatory, and unjust.
Great.
No one is. So for those of you who have lost vehicles, you are sick today because of this situation. Yes, sorry. Is that all we can say?
Well, I suppose, to try and go back and resolve things that have happened and is going to not get you very far very quickly. What we can do is, in the name of those people, make sure that we do the best we possibly can to make sure there's never a repeat of this.
Because this, and I thank you for that, because one of the things that we are doing as we speak now, I told you about Matatiele,
yes,
is that we are identifying the routes where there are problems. And we are trying to make a case on behalf of such routes and say, can we hold on with repossessions? At least they still have the vehicles.
Yes.
Can we hold on? Can we not repossess people's vehicles? Because now we have identified where the problem is. Can we see if we can, one, restructure this debt and try and assist them before they lose it all? Because if you've lost it, it's gone and you're not going to get it. But can we from now try and help those that are still having these vehicles but are on the verge of losing them?
Well, I want to make an open offer. Please give us that information. We will speak to the finance houses. And from what the interactions I've had with the finance houses, I don't think anybody is going to resist what you suggest.
Right.
They don't want their vehicles back. They want payment.
Yeah.
And they are more than happy to look at that type of restructuring. So I don't think that's an issue. And I make an open offer to help those people in Matatiele. We'll do what we can.
Yeah, I think it's important, because there are people in Matatiele. Last week, there's a person who lost 3 vehicles. One person. 3 vehicles instantly. And you don't know how I felt, because I was there 2 weeks before. And I said that I would want to come back and speak to the likes of yourself and say that, okay, can we jump into an aeroplane and go to Matatiele, go and see what the situation is there? Because it's not only Matatiele. Go and see what the situation is. Let's crunch the data there and see if we can help these people, because people are really excluded from operating. Of course, some of the mistakes are caused by the people themselves, And this information I'd like to talk to you about offline, so that at least we can do something for the people.
And I can assure you, we will jump in an aircraft and go down.
Dr. James, thank you. We are concluding. We're coming closer. My guys, are you still good there? Are you still giving us the tigers, the roses, the likes? Are you subscribing? You know that we are on all social media platforms, X, YouTube, Twitter, what is that? TikTok, Facebook, all of them. You find us there. Transit Ringas, follow us there. And if you are an operator, you are in distress, you know, all you need to do is to go into any of our inboxes, send us a hi. When you send us that hi, you will get an automated message back. That message will give you our WhatsApp number where you can converse with us, because we want to help. But don't take chances, because we have seen those instances. If you are really in distress and you need help, come to us. We would help where we can. I want to deal with something, and I really want to get your you pick your brain on this. There are operators who don't have sight, and majority of operators don't have sight of what's going on with their vehicles once the vehicle leaves the yard. The drivers are picking up traffic fines like mad. I'm not interested in the reasons now. No, I'm chasing money. The truth is that some of them are breaking the laws.
Yeah.
And they're picking traffic fines. There are few operators who came to us and said that, you know, this guy left me. When they left me, I realized when I was to renew my license that I have 400,000 of traffic fines that I didn't know.
Sure.
What do we do with this situation?
I think that the process I spoke of that we are going to be putting out there over the next 3 years with the smart card is going to be the answer to 80 to 90% of those problems.
Okay. We finished very nicely, and we've made certain offers to people that are in distress. And I can say it here, the people in Matatiele, we're thinking about you. We are really coming to help you where we can. We're not making promises that we're going to solve all your problems there, but where we definitely can, we will help. The taxi industry makes a number of trips per day. Can we quantify that in terms of kilometers traveled per day or per month?
I unfortunately only have the kilo for the year. That's the one
The year.
the 16 billion kilos a year. My apologies, I don't have it per month.
So we can simply then divide.
Yes, you can divide it
okay.
to give you approximate.
Yeah. So because it's important, there's a perception out there that the taxi industry is the biggest contributor to road accidents. Can we confirm that or dispel that myth?
It's a myth that must be dispelled. Sometimes one wonders why people allow these myths, if it doesn't suit their argument, to allow these myths to continue.
Mm-hmm.
So when you work out the number of deaths per transport mode, you've got to take into account, particularly the road transport mode.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to take into account the amount of kilos that those vehicles travel.
Right.
If you didn't do that, and that's what does not happen at the moment, people would say, well, X number of people per month die in this industry. True. and one death is more than what we want.
Yeah.
However, the most important element is the number of kilos that you travel. And as I said before, 16 billion kilos divided by the number of deaths. When I last looked at the statistics, will put us about number 3 in the group. In fact, when we last did the numbers, we were below the passenger car that you drive. Everybody drives. We were below that.
Sure.
So no, that is not correct. We are one of the safer. It's not the safest. Unfortunately, that is the case, but it's not got to do with. It's got to do with the number of kilos that you travel.
So, we can say that you're not the biggest contributor to the number of deaths on our road, or fatalities, if you like. But I will contend that you're one of the biggest contributors to infringements based on the number of kilometers that you contributing or traveling, at least per year.
And I would agree.
And you would agree with that.
Yes.
What does this mean? It means that in terms of reckless driving, negligent driving, all of the things that we always speak about, those things that we are still about. I was hoping, fortunately he's an honest man, I was hoping he was going to say no, so that we can give you data that shows that in terms of negligence and recklessness, the drivers are topping there.
Yeah. No, we would agree with that, and we have to put that right.
But can I then take that straight into the Department of Transport space? And I'll tell you why I want to take it there. I am deliberate because I believe that the PDPs are useless.
Yes.
They are not doing anything. They are not
nothing.
teaching the driver anything.
No.
As a matter of fact, a PDP you can get from a corner of a street. You don't have to do anything for a PDP.
Yes.
And yet government makes you pay for a professional driving permit.
Yes.
And this driver knows nothing about caring for you. And they are referred to as a professional driver. Is the industry doing something about this? Because we can't just tell government, we're going to give you the data. We will track the driver behavior. And if government does not change the system, or in fact, if we don't partner with the industry to challenge government to incur the cost of giving people certificates of something that they value, that we can refer to, and not just give people papers that are driver's permits or professional driving permits when they know nothing, we're going to be sitting in this situation, because this is exactly the make of this government.
That takes us back to the database that we spoke of. In the perfect scenario going forward, to become a taxi driver would require that you go through a number of processes and tests. Skid pan,
Right.
for example.
Right.
I don't know of a taxi driver that's been on a skid pan. They should be.
Yes.
Because sometimes when it rains, the vehicle starts to go off, and you need to know how to control it.
Right.
Apart from that, there are other conditions, and there are many, many companies that actually give these professional drivers proper backing. That is what is required. And the database is required. Now, it's difficult to draw a line, but you're going to have to draw a line and say from this date onwards, you have to take your driver from the database. Before that, we've got to get sufficient people in the database across the country that have met that requirement. And from that day onwards, a new applicant in driving has to come from the database. And I think a lot of these problems will be resolved. You know, if you look at the London cab,
Yeah.
those guys go through all types of testing, including what they call a knowledge test. You got to know from, if I say I want to be taken from Heathrow to this point, you got to know the quickest route there, etc.
Yes.
I'm not saying we need a knowledge test, but we need that type of thing.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, a cab driver in London is extremely proud to say, look, this is what I have achieved. Here, as you rightly say, you can pay for it on the street corner. That's not going to make you very happy with what you've achieved. And that database must contain best drivers for the future.
So is it but do you know what's the attitude of the minister? Have you spoken to the minister about this, or at least the Department of Transport about this? Because guys, this is basic. This is so basic that you can't go around and say that you're giving people PDPs when they know nothing about what this is.
Look, I do believe that the leadership of the industry, President Sebe and Mr. Joseph Onyone, have indeed spoken to the minister.
Right.
But then I must also say I unfortunately don't hold out much hope. Why? Because we've been talking about this for 40 years.
Oh, God.
So I don't see. Unfortunately, what happens is a dedicated minister gets into the job, starts the process, is removed from office, and the next dedicated minister comes in and you start all over again.
Yes.
That should not be in the minister's hands. It should be in the department's hands. And the department should, in fact, be pushing for this particular change.
Now, that is, James, we are about to conclude this, and I wanted to talk to you about, since we came here, we've been saying every wrong thing that the driver is doing.
Yes.
And we often don't talk about the good things that they're doing. And I think I must put a disclaimer here and say that when we talk about the driver, we are mindful that it's not all the drivers. We are mindful, and maybe we should at this point appreciate the drivers that are conscious on how they treat the people. We thank you for that. We thank you for the work that you're doing. We thank you for protecting commuters at taxi ranks, because even criminals know that a taxi rank is not where you play, right? They know that. We thank those drivers who will stop on the side of the road when a woman is being abused and say that you can't do that. We don't speak about things like this. And I think every time when we talk about we are bashing the drivers, and they start thinking that we are just against them. We are not.
No.
We are not. The last thing I think it's important is there is so much development, change, transformation that's taking place. At what point do we take the drivers into confidence and make them part of this? We understand that they are not business owners, and they must understand that the business owners are the ones that are, but we need to take, they are the stakeholders in the industry. One of the things that we've been battling with is we are rolling out an app. A driver is going to be monitored by an anonymous person, and they would not even know what is it that they are being checked against. How have you, as the industry, been communicating? Are there bodies that are representing drivers in the country?
So you've touched on a very important point, and I'm very pleased that you have, because one may have forgotten to do this and close the discussion before we've done so. So let me concur with you that many of the drivers in the industry are excellent drivers. By the way, they are some of the most skilled
Yeah.
driving people that you can find.
Right.
I always remember a discussion that we held because the traffic officers pulled a vehicle off of the road. It was supposed to have 60 people and it had 20. And to fit the 20 in, the driver had taken the steering wheel off and put a wrench on the but the fact is, of course, that is unacceptable. However, the skill of some of these drivers is absolutely unbelievable, and
Yeah.
they are good drivers and they stick to the so I just want to concur with you. You know what is of interest to me, and here the owners have got to own up. I knew a taxi owner that had a number of vehicles, a lot of vehicles. He employed his drivers. And this is something, by the way, that we'd learned from the late Godfried Klakling, who was one of the first owners to run a fleet. And what they did, and this has been continued, is that they would take in a driver and they say, you see, Bruce, this vehicle, I want 7 years out of it. Then it's yours. And what's more, I'm giving you the operating license as well.
Sure.
You get out and you start to operate. I'll get another one for my fleet. That operation, when we checked, the drivers in that operation, 94% owned their own properties. In the general taxi industry, 4% own their own properties.
No, guys.
Yeah. And that tells you, unfortunately, that the largest part of the taxi industry's drivers regard driving a taxi as employment of last resort.
Yeah.
And you find that they come in and they go out. And this is one of the big problems that owners have got, because there's such a rapid turnover of drivers that you can't actually retain them. In my mind, I think owners need to rethink the model and make it so that this man is not just a driver, but in fact your partner.
Yeah.
Over this period.
Yeah.
And then how do I make sure that he lives a better life thereafter?
Sure.
So I think a lot of work has got to be done. You ask, when should the driver be brought in? The driver must be brought in now.
Right.
You can't, you know, South Africans are strange people. We like to say, don't make any decisions without me. But then I go on and make decisions without you.
Yeah.
We can't make decisions about the drivers. We need to talk to the drivers. As to organizations representing, this is a problem because they come and they go. Some are there a little longer than others. Some are really defunct. It's two people operating an office, but they're actually no members. So it's something we've all got to work on. I do again say the database will resolve that.
Right. No, I think, thank you, Dr. James. Is there, do you have hope on the future of the industry as you're sitting here today?
Tata Isaack, you know, absolute faith. When I came into this industry, it was an industry that was ignored by government. They used to call the ranks black spots. We need to move these black spots, forgetting that your entire workforce comes through that
very
black spot that you're talking of. If they could make progress under the previous regime, I believe that the taxi industry has the wherewithal to get through anything. The situation is extremely bad as it stands at the moment, but I do see green shoots.
Right.
We are taking the turn, and I am absolutely positive that when you and I are no longer there, me before you,
Of course.
but and we are not there, this industry will be booming again. I have no doubt of that.
Well, that would bring us to the conclusion of this important discussions. I know that you've been there for a very long time, but we needed to get everything we were thinking of out and have it on archive, and will take it out from time to time. We want, as Transit Ringas, we want to be part of this transformation. We have the skills, we have the technology. That is one of the biggest challenges of the industry. Has everything that comes into the industry requires these huge budgets. Artificial intelligence is here. And we don't need these big budgets. Some of these things are obsolete now. Right? And we believe that we're a player that is going to contribute, one, to making the industry more efficient and improving the passenger experience. We are going to lobby. We're a show, but part of what we do is that we're academics.
Yes.
We rely on data.
Yes.
Everything that we do, we're collating real-time data that would assist the industry on driver behavior, vehicle conditions, and the rest of it.
Actually go to the problem.
Really where the problem is. And we will not want to do this thing in isolation with the industry. And I think I want to, as you've offered, but I think that one of the most important things when we leave the cameras is to really identify where to start, because a start needs to be identified.
Yes.
So for you guys that are there, the time of being quiet is over, because the cost of being quiet we have seen now. To the banks, to those that are supporting the industry, to the dealers, we don't want to confront you or accuse you of any wrongdoing. You have done your wrongs in the past, but the moment has arrived where we can actually join hands and bring about the change. Save the black business smear. So from me to you, I am saying I am Isaack Lesole. This is the episode of Transit Ringas. Until we meet in the next one, may the good Lord bless you as we get out of this. Peace and light.
Yo, en het rijmt.